to October week 2 of Bible class. Remember, this month we are learning all about 4 words that start with an R, and the first one was remember. This week we're going to talk about repent, and then we have remain and rejoice. And we have a camping theme or a tent theme. And we, last week, focused on the word remember. We built our tabernacle or tent. We dressed up like Bible Times people, and we are pretending to be children or families in the time of the Old Testament. So last week we learned that the thing that God wanted his people to remember each year when they celebrated the Feast of Tabernacles or tents, the celebration of tents, where they would live in a tent for 7 whole days and celebrate, they were remembering that a long time ago their people had been slaves in Egypt and they were not free and they were treated badly, and that God rescued them. He saw them in their slavery and he rescued them and took them out of slavery and led them away from Egypt into a new and better and good land, into a story of living with God forever. And we, friends, are a part of that story too. So even though we are pretending that we are children in that time who might have celebrated this Feast of Tabernacles with our families, we know that God leading his people into a new and better and good life with him is still our story too. So we are going to pick up this week. Remember, we said most of our lessons this month come from the book of Exodus, and it is impossible for me to read the whole book of Exodus to you in the Old Testament. It's a very long book. So I'm going to read a section from the Jesus Storybook Bible, which many of you may have. And if you would like to follow along, this week I'm reading from 10 Ways to Be Perfect, and it's taken from Exodus 16 and 17, and then also chapters 19 through 40. So follow along if you have your Bible with me. So there they all were, grannies, granddads, babies, uncles, aunts, children, moms and dads, out there in the middle of the desert. They had blisters on their feet from walking. They were hungry and thirsty and much, much too hot. We don't like it, they said. It stinks. And so did they, for that matter, because nobody had taken a bath in weeks. Now remember, because this is something they'd forgotten, God had done amazing things for his people. He had hidden them inside a cloud. He had moved the sea. He had set them free. But God's people still weren't happy. They didn't care about being free. Wasn't it better when they were slaves? At least they had lots of nice food to eat then. God doesn't want us to be happy, they said. It was the same lie that Adam and Eve had heard all those years before. God has brought us out here to kill us. God doesn't love us, but they didn't know God very well, did they? Every day of their journey, God kept on showing his people how well he would look after them if they would trust him and obey him. When they were hungry, God made the sky rain with food, bread coming down from heaven. When they were thirsty and started fighting, God made water flow from a rock. And still, God's children didn't trust him or do what he said. They thought they could do a better job of looking after themselves and making themselves happy. But God knew there was no such thing as happiness without him. So God led them to a tall mountain. God wanted to talk to his people and show them what he was like. He wanted to help them know him better and tell them about the special land he was going to give them. The whole earth belongs to me, God said, but I have chosen you. You are my special family. I want you to live in a way that shows everyone else what I'm like, so they can know me too. So God called Moses up to the mountain, and the great mountain shook, and a thick cloud fell down, and thunder roared, and lightning cracked, and God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. I want you to love me more than anything else in the world, and know that I love you too, God told them. That's the most important thing of all. God gave them other rules too, like don't make yourselves pretend gods, and don't kill people or steal or lie. The rules showed God's people how to live and how to be close to him and how to be happy. They showed how life worked best. God promises to always look after you, Moses said. Will you love him and keep these rules? Yeah, we can do that, the people said. We promise. But they were wrong. They couldn't do it. No matter how hard they tried, they could never keep God's rules all of the time. God knew that they couldn't, and he wanted them to know it too. Only one person could keep all of those rules, and many years later, God would send him to stand in their place and be perfect for them. Because the rules could not save them. Only God could save them. And we know that person that God sent that he's talking about there is Jesus, don't we? Friends, our word for today is repent. Everybody say repent. Repent. And repent is a special word that means turn. So when you say repent, you're just talking about turning from one thing to another. So when you turn around, I want you to practice with me. When I say repent, I want you to turn. Okay? You ready? Repent. 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 All right, so every time I repented or turned, I was either looking at you or I was looking away from you. I couldn't look at both at the same time, right? So Travis and Bennett are going to come and help me with a little illustration here to show how God's people were doing this in the wilderness. Like our story said, they forgot to remember, like we learned last week. They didn't always remember that they had been slaves. Travis's board says sin, slavery, Egypt. And as they were walking to the new, better place with God, they sometimes would forget to remember, and they would say, hey, it wasn't so bad back there. Let's walk back that way. And then Moses would remind them of how that life was, and they would have to repent and turn back toward God, to the new and better life with God and all of his promises that are true. And friends, thank you guys. You can be finished. Yay, thank you for your help. We do this even today. Even though we were not slaves in Egypt and we are not moving to a new promised land here on this earth, we have been rescued from our sin, just like the Israelites were rescued from slavery. And I have a little illustration here to show you that's kind of fun. This is a bowl full of red Jell-O, and I have some friends here, I hope you can see it, who are stuck in their sin. This red Jell-O is their sin. They're stuck. This could be the Israelites stuck in slavery. They couldn't help themselves. They couldn't get out. They're pretty stuck. It's sticky sin, sticky slavery. And friends, what God does for us, what he did for the Israelites, is what we can't do for ourselves. He rescues us. He removes us from that gooey, sticky situation, and he gives us a new and better and clean life. He makes us brand new and gives us a life with him. And all we did was turn away from that old sinful life. So we're going to leave the sin behind, and we're going to walk on with God to this new life. Now, friends, I want to tell you a secret about this. This is not something that just happened one time forever, because every single day we make bad choices that hurt God's heart and aren't the right way to be. We disobey our parents. We break rules. We can't be perfect. Just like our Bible lesson said, only God can make us pure and good and right. And so every day God does this for us when we repent and we turn away from the bad choices we make and we turn back toward God. He will always pick us up, clean us off, and set us back on the right road to him. So God never gets tired of coming into this gross, sticky mess and rescuing us from our sin and our sticky yuck so that we can live a new and better life with him every day. And God did this for us in Jesus. I want to read you one last verse. It's from Romans 6. I'm going to read this to you from a kid's Bible. And it says, when you were a slave to sin, you were becoming more and more evil. But now that you have obeyed Jesus, you will become holy. God will make you holy. God will make you like himself because you're choosing to repent, turn away from sin and bad choices, and look to God, who will always rescue us, just like he did the Israelites from Egypt. All right, let's sing our song one time, and then we'll be done for today. Are you ready, friends? I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing, I will sing. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. And with my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness, thy faithfulness. And with my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. And our memory verse, friends, from Psalm 77:11. I will remember the deeds of the Lord. I will remember your wonders of old. Thank you, friends. Remember to remember, and remember that when we forget, all we have to do is repent and turn back to God, and He will always come and rescue us from our sin and help us live a life with Him. I love you, friends. Goodbye.